All right, Xbox did their developer direct for 2026 yesterday, Thursday, January the 22nd. And we got a good look at a few games, and I just wanted to talk about it. This is going to be a bit of a shorter video, probably. I'm not sure yet, haven't started, but we are going to go through the 4 games that they talked about. We got some good looks at these games, some good trailers, as well as some real developer insight from all of them. So I don't really have much of an intro, so let's just get right into it with the first game that they showcased, and that was Forza Horizon 6. This game looks incredible. I am kind of blown away with how it looks, and honestly, I'm more excited to play this than I have been any other Forza game in a long, long time. I'm going to preface this by saying I'm not a car guy. I'm not even really a racing game guy. I like racing games, I enjoy them, but I'm nowhere near a competitive racing player. I am not into cars in the slightest. I don't really care anything about cars, but I like cool cars. I like when they go fast. So I think I'm I think I'm valid to be excited for this. The first thing they talked about in this preview, the main thing, was the setting. We knew it's going to be set in Japan already, but after seeing this, I think you'd be hard pressed to find anyone who's not excited for this setting. They showed off the insane landscapes that you're going to be able to drive through. They showed off the massive Tokyo that they're building. They didn't really show it off in its full extent, but they gave us a little sneak peek at it. And honestly, just the car culture that Japan has to offer. They talked about the team going to Japan to capture footage from everything that they wanted to work on, from the landscapes to the cityscapes to just things as small as like how the cherry blossom leaves will move when you drive past them. Like they were really detailed in their research for this game in the Japanese setting, right? Moving away from the setting, something that I'm very excited for is the return to form for the progression system in Forza Horizon. If you played Forza Horizon 4 and 5, I think it was just those two, and I think it was Forza Horizon 4 as well. Definitely 5, either way. I have a bad memory. But in those games, you start as a, superstar. You go into the game, you could do everything pretty much right at the start. And that kind of system of like non-progression, it made it hard to get into those games. Like I would load it up and I'd be super excited to, drive around in fast cars and look at these environments, and I would get into it and there would just be a map full of things to do and I'd be like, too many things. Uh and I think that they're doing a good thing here by going back to a, wristband system where you start as a nobody, you get your wristbands, you go up in the ranks, and eventually get to the Forza Horizon Festival, where then you can compete in the massive races and unlock new territories in the map and all those kinds of things. And this progression system will make it a lot more, exciting to explore the game and progress through the game. But the coolest thing I think that they showed was the base building aspect of the game. Every house you get comes with a customizable garage. You can fully customize the interior of it. You use it to show off your cars, and you can invite your friends over to see what you built, and that's really cool. But the main customizable base building aspect was the estate that they showed off. They didn't really give too much detail on it, so I think that they have a lot more coming, but pretty much it's this area in the map where it starts off as just a field, pretty much. And throughout the game, throughout the progression, you build it up and customize it into this massive car complex. And as I said, they didn't really give away too much, but I think that there's something here. I think I see a lot of potential in this. I think if you can host car meets, if you can build your own racetracks, like mini racetracks around it, stuff like that. I think that there's a lot here, and I'm very excited to see where this goes because I love base building. It's usually a great part of a game, for me at least. More on the customization, they also showed off that you will be able to customize the entire map. I think it'll be in a separate game mode, but you and your friends can go into the map, move whatever you want, build whatever you want, put anything anywhere, and that's a really cool feature for people who are into that. Personally, I think that sounds a bit too tedious for me, but I think that that'll be a big thing in the community, and I'm sure people, I mean, you can't really be upset about that, right? Especially if it's in a separate game mode, which it definitely will be. This game releases on May 19th on Xbox and PC, later in the year, probably on PS5. They haven't really given a release date on PS5, but it was kind of hinted that it'll be later this year. The next game we looked at was Beast of Reincarnation. This is a game that I've been pretty interested in for a while, but that interest is also met with a fair amount of skepticism. This is being developed by Game Freak, the Pokemon people, and that's kind of why I'm both intrigued and skeptical of it. Pokemon hasn't been good, right, for at least 10 years. And maybe that's because they're working on this game. Maybe they're putting all their, time and money into this game, and Pokemon, it'll sell anyways, so just ship out whatever. But I struggle to see the innovation when it comes to Game Freak and this game in particular, but we'll get into that later. Let's start with the positives. This game looks really impressive, visually and technically, right? The enemy designs are insane. The weapons look really cool, and the environment just looks so like magical and just beautiful, really, is the word to describe it. It kind of gives me a Horizon vibe, which we'll touch on later, but instead of like robot animals, you have plant animal hybrids, which is kind of cool. I like that. You will be able to create vines out of thin air for traversal and for combat, which is one of the systems that they really showed off. I think that that's cool. I don't know. I haven't really seen much like that, so that's interesting. Overall, though, as I said before, it kind of looks like Horizon. It also kind of looks like every other Souls-like. It doesn't really have anything that grabs me yet, and that's kind of disappointing, right? I feel like in today's day and age, when every game is, set in Japan, it's a Souls-like, it's a rogue-like, it's everything derivative, right? I feel like you need something to stand out, and this game doesn't really have that yet. The combat looks fun, right? But combat can only be fun for a certain amount of hours until it gets, repetitive, right? You need something else to really, hook me at least. I mean, some people can get a kick out of a combat system for, 60, 70 hours, but I assume this game will be very long. It looks like the type of game that's going to be like a 50-hour game. And for me to spend 50 hours in a game world, I need something else other than a cool combat system and beautiful looking environments and enemy designs. It just looks a bit too derivative for me right now, but I'm still excited to see what happens with this game, what goes on, and I'm really excited to play a Game Freak game that isn't Pokemon. I am very curious to see what they're capable of in that aspect, but right now for me, I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet, at least. The next one that they showcased was the surprise, the secret reveal, and this is something that they usually do. They usually have a secret surprise reveal put in the middle of the showcase, and it's usually something cool, right? This time, it was the Kiln, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm probably the only person on YouTube that's not gonna absolutely shit on this game right out the jump, because I think it looks creative and fun. It's a multiplayer brawler where you build things out of clay, a pot, a vase, whatever, and then use it to fight your friends and people online. It's like a co-op party game, lighthearted, goofy, and fun. And a lot of people are like, oh, why was this the big reveal? Like, what's so special about this? And it's like, I don't really understand the hate towards this because it's something creative and it's not for me, right? Like, I'm not gonna play this. I doubt it. I might, but I probably won't. But the way that Double Fine, the developers behind this game, come up with incredibly creative, unique, and just weird stuff is so admirable in a world where, like I just said with Beast of Reincarnation, everything is a Souls-like or a rogue-like or a live service battle royale. They always come up with things that are different and cool and unique and creative, and I can't knock them for trying stuff like that, right? I feel like the fact that they got this far in development with this game and also The Keeper that came out last year and all their other games before that, the fact that they're able to put these out in a time when pretty much the only games that get greenlit are live service games is just admirable. I like it and I can't hate it for that. As I said before, I'm probably not going to play it. It doesn't look like my thing. But for maybe younger people who have Xbox Live and they want to play with their friends when they come over for, a sleepover or whatever. I don't know if kids still do that, but it just looks like a fun old time, right? And I can't hate on that. Now for the big one, the big reveal that everyone was very excited for. I mean, not really a reveal, but a further look. Fable. It is probably my most anticipated game of the year, and I think it is for a lot of people as well. And I'm going to preface this by saying, if you haven't watched any videos on my channel, if you don't know what this channel is about, I am an optimistic person. I enjoy being excited about games, right? Everyone on YouTube and just in general is so skeptical about every game that comes out, and that's fine. It's good to be a cautious consumer. Like, I fully understand that. I'm not hating on people who want to be skeptical for everything. But for me, if a game comes out and I'm excited for it and it flops, it's not good, then I move on to the next one. There's always a next game coming, right? So getting excited about a game is part of what makes gaming fun for me. So with that being said, I'm very excited for Fable. I'm very optimistic for what Playground Games has to offer here. The big focus of this showcase was on the world. The full, like, fairy tale, fantasy, vibrant, magical, whimsical world that they're building. And I've said before, I love that kind of vibe in a fantasy game. This is why I love Fable as a series. This is why I love the original Oblivion. These kind of games that are colorful and just, like, they look like they're out of a fairy tale. And I love it. I just find that so incredibly, fun to play through in a way that stuff like The Witcher or Skyrim or games that I also love, they just don't really have that feeling when you're playing, right? And this is why I'm excited for Fable. They showed off Bowerstone, the massive city in Albion that has been in the other games, but here it looks crazy massive. Multiple districts of, like, rich and poor, like the visual contrast between them, from like the massive, palaces to the slums and the fish docks and stuff like that, looks great. But outside the city is kind of where it really shines for me. These lush environments and the massive plains with, overgrown crops and just really cool, visual candy to feast your eyes on. I love it. I just love the way this world looks. But let's move on to something more tangible in the combat. The combat looks solid, right? It doesn't look great. But that being said, it looks serviceable. It's not... I don't think this is going to be a game that carries itself on its combat. I think it's going to be carried more on the NPC interactions, which we'll get into a bit later. But here it looks pretty basic, right? Heavy attack, light attack, a few small combos, ranged attacks, turn people into chickens, kick them across the map, that kind of thing, right? So I think that if you're looking for a game that is a purely combat-focused game, this might not be for you. But if you're looking for a game where you can, kick people out of their homes and then spit on them while they're living in the streets while they swear at you, then this is probably going to be the game for you, because the NPC interactions in this game look incredible. They look so fun. There will be over 1,000 fully voiced, NPCs that you can have full conversations with and that you can interact with further. The classic Fable systems of, buying houses, getting married, having kids, those are all there. And that's great. That's exactly what we wanted. But they'll go further into, like, you can buy multiple houses. You can buy all the houses, be a landlord, kick people out. You can buy businesses, hire people, fire people. As I said, get married, get divorced, have kids, marry someone else, have other kids. You can fully live in this world. And I think that's something that I've been craving in a video game for a long time. Fully getting immersed and living in a world is something that I enjoy probably more than any other aspect in a game. We all have our lives outside of games, but when you sit down and you're playing a game, I want to be, like, I want to live in it, And I think that Fable can offer that. I think that this new Fable game has the, minerals to offer that, right? The other thing they touched on was the reputation system, the morality system. And they said that everything affects your reputation. And morality is subjective, which is that's how it is in real life, right? So if you do something, like let's say you kick someone out of their house, that person's going to be mad at you. They're going to call you a twat, which is fair, right? But then someone else, maybe they don't like that person. They're going to be like, yeah, fair enough, that guy was a dick. All the morality in the game is subjective to each unique NPC, which is incredibly cool, right? The other thing was the kind of gray area they touched on. Not everything is going to be good or evil. So some things are just kind of in the middle. They're the gray area, like I said, which is something that a lot of morality systems I think get wrong, where it's like you're picking between two pieces of dialogue and you're like, okay, that's clearly the right one and that's clearly the wrong one. Which one do I want to do? I think this game will have a lot more of like nuanced, like, oh, is this right or wrong? Like, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it's right and wrong at the same time. I think that I hope that they're really gonna nail this gray area in morality to the point where it's genuinely challenging to pick your dialogue options. Something that I love in games. I love multiple dialogue options. I love being able to, fully role play a character that's not me in a game. They also touched a little bit on world permanence, the fact that things that you do in the game will have a, real impact and long-lasting impact on the world itself. They showed a little bit in the trailer about if you kill this giant at the start of the game, then his corpse will lay over a part of the map and it'll affect housing prices and people will keep on calling back to it throughout the game, which is really cool. And I hope there's more like that. A lot of games like say they have this kind of thing in a trailer and then that's the only part of the game that offers that. I hope there's multiple things like this that they haven't showed us yet because that's a really cool system. I like that kind of thing. Fable got a release window of fall 2026. Obviously it's been delayed and delayed in the past, but I think hopefully they nail this fall window because I'm very excited to play this, but if they don't, oh well, we got a lot to play in between. So yeah, are you guys excited about Fable? Are you as excited as I am? I know a lot of people are skeptical. I know a lot of people are thinking it doesn't look great, it might be a bit framey in the combat especially, but I think they'll polish it up. They got a good amount of time to figure that out. But yeah, that was the showcase. That was the Xbox Direct Developer Direct Showcase. We got Forza Horizon 6, Beast of Reincarnation, The Kiln, and Fable. What game are you most excited for? For me, it's obviously Fable, as I think you can kind of tell in this video. But if you're more excited for Forza Horizon 6, I would love to hear why. If you're the most excited for Beast of Reincarnation, prove me wrong. Tell me why I should be excited about that. Because for me right now, I'm kind of iffy on it. But yeah, I've been Janky. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the support on the recent videos. I had one video, the Red Dead Redemption 2 best game of all time video, hit almost 500 views. It's 4 views away from 500, so if you haven't seen that, go check it out. But yeah, I've been Janky. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.